Well, an election hasn't yet been called, but the government is well and truly in electioneering mode, and the fact is they have been for some time. Education Minister Jason Clare was yesterday advertising Labor's decision to wipe $3 billion of HECS debt, and by wipe, of course, he means use your money to pay it off. But he added this little note, quote, "And if we win the next election, Labor will wipe a further 20% off every student debt." Wow, it must be great to have money to burn in a cost of living crisis. Well, I mean, they have our money to burn, it seems. And the budget update today showed that Chalmers has set aside $5.5 billion to spend in the lead up to the next election. Not allocated yet, but just sitting there as a pretty handy war chest, even if Chalmers insists it's nothing to worry about.
That's a relatively small number by historical comparisons. Particularly in the lead up to an election. It doesn't, as I said to Claire yesterday, it doesn't stand out because decisions taken but not yet announced are a regular feature of budgets under governments of both political persuasion. And that's not an especially big number.
Well, there you go. Joining me on the panel is former Speaker of the House, Bronwyn Bishop, and the Australian's Associate Editor, Graham Lloyd. Graham, let me go to you first. There's a budget scheduled for March, but this war chest could mean Albanese goes to the polls early. What do you think?
Well, it certainly could, James. I think what you would say from the numbers that were there in the mid-year review today was that it's probably unlikely there will be another budget, that this is it before the government goes to an election. Jim Chalmers, you know, I must blush, $5 billion is not a great deal of money to have put in the kitty for election largesse. But the bigger problem here is things like the forgiving of student debt and other things are all off-budget measures. And as we've heard earlier, it's those off-budget spending that are pushing the deficit out to extraordinary levels in the forward estimates. It's something that is sort of muddied the way the budget is compiled, and spending that's great largesse is not being properly reflected as it otherwise has been.
Yeah, that off-budget spending creates an overly optimistic account of the figures. When you dig down, it's worse than presented. But Bronwyn, back to that lazy, $5.5 billion, just waiting for somewhere to call home. What are the chances Albo's going to go on a cash splash with bill relief just as we head for the polls?
Well, of course he is. That's what it's there for. Not yet disclosed. It'll be disclosed. And there was no way in the world that the snake charmer is going to bring down another budget. No way in the world. He was there today with his own version of dishonesty. I think I honestly have to use the word. He was saying, look, we've all done a wonderful job. Look at it. We had 2 surpluses. Yeah, well, he was a lucky duck, wasn't he? But the truth of the matter is we will now be plunged into debt until 2034. And that's a pretty good effort on behalf of the Treasurer. You know, poor old Josh Frydenberg would have had a surplus if it weren't for COVID. So there's luck in politics, and he was a lucky duck to get 2. But he's done nothing to rein in expenditure, to push down inflation, to make life better. And indeed, by using taxpayers' money to push up wages of certain sectors, feeding the wage inflation spiral, where you've got more money in your pocket, paying more tax and you buy less, means that people's standard of living has just gone down and down, as we all know. But he is telling everybody, look, we've done a wonderful job, you should all be grateful. Well, there's no way he's going to a budget and telling them that really he's all about debt. In fact, I think he's regretting very much that they didn't hold their nerve and go on the 7th of December when they were ready, believe me.